I thought we'd take a little bit of time today and talk about pokers for fires, for use in the forge, wood stove, camping, whatever you might want to use a poker for. Specifically, we're going to use the reverse twist that we did a few days ago. I said I would save this bar or do something with it, and we'll make a very simple poker out of this. Nothing very fancy, but it'll be elegant, it'll be a nice thing, and it would be a good gift for the holidays if you're looking for a gift idea. Pokers can be any length, any type of material. It just has to be able to move wood around in the fire to stir up the coals or rearrange a log so it burns better. This is actually one of my favorite hooks because it can poke, push, pull, and you can use it to lift a pot up off the fire if you're camping. The ends can simply be folded back, and maybe we'll show you how to do that as well as whatever I'll do on this other poker. They can be forge welded. This one I think was welded with a torch. And even just a simple bent over point, or for that matter a straight point. I use this one in the forge quite a bit, as well as this one. Are my two that I use for managing the coal or charcoal fires. But all of these will work just fine in a wood stove or a fireplace. The size is dependent on how big of a fire you're going to have. If you have a fireplace that you could park a Volkswagen in, you probably don't want to use a little tiny short poker. But if you have a little wood stove like I have here in the shop, then a poker like this might be just ideal for you. Today we're filming without the clip-on mic because I forgot to buy batteries, so I hope the sound is acceptable using the camera's built-in mic. We're starting with our piece that we made the reverse twist in. This is 33 inches long. I think that's too long, so I'm going to end up cutting 6 or 8 inches off of this. We'll see what seems appropriate when we get to that point. But I'll leave it long for a handle right now, and we'll work on the handle end first, because this is the end you're going to hold. It's the most important, and there's not a lot we can do with this because the twist has already defined our major element in the handle. So that's really where you're going to grip. The rest of this is just going to be a little bit decorative. I think I'll draw it out, put a ring on it. Be fairly simple, but we'll try to do a nice job of it. I'm going to start by drawing a bit of a taper on the end of the bar. Make sure you don't accidentally hit your twist. You can also do this twist afterwards, so you can avoid accidentally mucking it up. I'm a firm believer in learning to forge by hand. I think learning to do everything at the anvil with a hand hammer will really develop your skills and will make you a better blacksmith in the long run. However, in the interest of saving a little bit of time, because I've got things that I need to go do, and you don't really want this to be a 30 or 40-minute video of me just hammering out a taper, I'm going to do a lot of this under the power hammer today. very light taper into this point, and I'm going to shoulder this just using the power hammer dies, and I'm going to draw this out into probably about a 5/16 round rod, and that will be our ring handle, somewhat vaguely similar to this handle. That's what we're going for right now. I'm going to knock the corners off here and make that octagonal in this taper. I think that'll look better. And then we're going to round this end up. And again, be careful of your twist. This is just from the twist up. Now I'm going to start offsetting this handle to form a ring. Try to get this ring as accurately forged as you can, just by hammer and by eye. A good skill builder. You can do a pretty fair job this way. You don't have to have a lot of fancy tools, but they do make little anvil cones. Pretty darn round. I don't really need to do much to that to fix it up. But there are tools you can use. Like I say, try to do it by hand and by eye to start with. I'm just doing some light straightening and cleaning up some high spots on my bevel. So this is essentially our handle end of the poker. Now that just goes into a sharp cornered square bar. I want to taper this out, similar but not as fast as this, and I'm going to start with an octagon up here and probably chamfer the corners all the way down just to keep this balanced and looking good. I've been working in both power hammers, the 25-pound Little Giant and the 120-pound bull hammer. It's really a 90-pound bull, but it's got an extra weight on it. Both of these are good hammers for the small shop. There's lots of 25-pound Little Giants still out there on the market. You should be prepared to tinker and do some work if you go out and buy one. Bull hammers are probably a little harder to find, but there are a lot of similar shop-built pneumatic hammers out there. And bull hammer's not on the market anymore, but Ken's Custom Iron makes some sort of a hammer. I wish I could remember what the name of it was. If I was looking for a new one, I would probably take a serious look at theirs. But you don't have to have a power hammer. You can do it all by hand at the anvil. But these are the hammers I'm using because I have them in my shop. But I've also been collecting tools and equipment for over 30 years. So if you're just starting out, you don't have to buy a power hammer first day. Needs a little bit of straightening after that. Put a very strong chamfer, nearly octagon, down the length of this, and it's sorting a nice graceful taper. I want to take it down to about 3/8 square, just ahead of the point. This is all I can do from this side. I'm going to turn it, let it cool. We'll let this cool and turn it around so we can work from the handle in. That pretty cold under the power hammer that helps leave a bit smoother of a finish. I'll clean it up with a hand hammer. You notice I've left quite a shoulder here, quite a long section. But I think this is about as long as I'm going to want the poker, is right about here. So I'm going to cut it right there next step. So I'm going to cut this off, leaving about 2.5 inches or so of the original 1/2 inch square bar. One of these days we'll do a video on making a hardy, and I'll make a better hardy for this anvil. This was sort of a quick make-do project. When I first got this great big anvil, it was an 1.25 inch hardy hole. So we cut quite a bit off of the original bar. We were at 33 inches, and we've taken 10 inches off. So that means we're only using 23 inches total. Might be easier to remember 2 feet. So we'll go back in the fire. This part will become our hook. And I've left a larger mass on here because of the kind of hook I want to do. I'm going to offset that mass to one side of the anvil and kind of clean my paper up here. We'll do some more of that here before we're completely done. So I've got the mass offset. Now I want to thin this so that it is as wide as possible. I don't want to draw an even taper. I want to spread it widthwise. So that's down to the cross peen. And we'll get it hot. And continue to spread this widthwise until it's the same thickness as we are right here. So we're getting pretty close. Keep it all offset to one side. That'll all make sense here in a minute. Now what we can do, because this is going to be a double hook, I'm actually going to split this. I'll use a chisel and go right down the middle. If we point this first, we don't have to point both hooks, or do as much work to point both hooks separately. They'll need some sort of work. So I'm going to draw that to a point this way, but leave this as thick as you can, or as wide as you can. So we're just bringing both of our hooks to a point at the same time. Or perhaps I shouldn't say hooks. One of them's a hook and one of them pokes straight forward. But for lack of a better term. You can certainly do a forge welded end on this, and one of these days we will probably address that. So the next thing we want to do is chisel that, and I'm going to just lay that out while it's cold. Sometimes you can get away with this. My anvil's a little tall to hold that between my legs without standing on a block. So I can use a hold fast. And that'll be another video topic. I'm not trying to cut this cold, I'm just getting a mark that I can follow when it's hot. And you don't want to go all the way back. I want to go probably about a ½ inch from the back, maybe not quite that far. And that leaves a good mark we can find hot. If you don't have a hot chisel, you can go back and look at the video on making the hammer eye punches. The process would be exactly the same. You just make a chisel out of it. So there we have just a mark. So now that we're hot, we can follow our line. If I turn it the right side up. But you don't want to cut all the way through into your anvil. That would be a bad thing. Because of the curved edge of the chisel, I can just rock this forward. It makes it much easier to follow this line. I think it's best to cut this. Once I've been done with that. Anvil hold fast don't work as well as woodworking workbench hold fast, but they do work. Better than holding it between your legs. I think it's better to work from both sides. So I'm going to lay out the back side here. Now this has to be centered, or at least as well centered as your other side was. or your chisel blade cuts won't come out one on top of the other. And that creates a lot more filing. So I'll be able to find that hot. And these might meet, so be careful not to ding your anvil, like I said. So now we have the chisel cut from both sides. It looks like they're going to meet in the middle. We're going to get it hot again. This time we're going to put a mild steel plate, so when we cut through the anvil, or cut through the poker, we'll hit this and not the anvil. I went ahead and shimmed this to keep it level with the plate. And now we can be a little bit more vigorous. Because we've got that plate to take care of us. You can see we're cutting through. And work from the other side as well, just to clean this end up. We're getting kind of cold, but since we're pretty much there, I think I can separate this in. And it's separated. Give just a little twist there, open it up just a bit. So, there's our split. Next thing we'll do is clean that up. So we have to open it up far enough to get in there. And I'm going to hot rasp this. It's kind of raggedy in there from the chisel cut. Pretty simple to just set this over something and work on opening it up some. We can get this to about 90 degrees. Which is pretty close. Then it's pretty easy to get a hot rasp in there, and we'll do a little hot rasping. We've discussed hot rasping before. It's a real efficient way to move a lot of material while something's hot without having to let it cool. Just using a coarse half-round file. It's an old file, wore out. It works both directions in the hot material. That gets me down in this area. And then when I get up into here, I'm going to use an old Farrier's rasp. All you're really trying to do here is just get all the rag off of it. Depending on how well your chisel cut's lined up, you may have to do 3 or 4 heats to hot rasp this. Now make sure these are drawn out to the profile you want. Nice little hook and poker. I generally try to make them pretty symmetrical at this point. Even though they're off in wild directions, they're about the same length and about the same tapered cross section. And they come to a fairly sharp point, not needle sharp, but sharp. The side where I've left the offset is the one I prefer to make the hook out of. There's nothing sacred about that. Do what you want to do, but that's just the way I like it. And you want it to point pretty much straight back. I think it could curve out that way a little bit. That'll be a little tough to fix. I'll probably get a bending fork. So we can bend it out that way a little bit. I think that'll look better. Now we can straighten the straight poker in. If we want it straight. Personally, I like just a little bit of curve to it. Something like that. But you do want the poker to be pretty much in line with your handle. So I'm going to leave it right there. A little bit of cleanup there. Take another heat to clean it up if you need it. There we have a nice hook and poker. No forge welding involved, no riveting, no arc welding. Very simple, very elegant. If all you have is a forge, hammer, anvil, some kind of a vise, and a chisel and some files, you can do this. When we did this twist the first time, I lightly sanded it. Of course, any evidence of it's gone now, so I'm going to do that again. Just to highlight the twist. And then we're going to put a little bit of paste wax on here. That is pretty much it for our poker. Needs to cool just a little bit more. It's still several hundred degrees to melt the paste wax. Here we have our finished poker. Our nice reverse twisting for the handle end. And a lightly tapered shaft with heavy chamfers. And our split point. Well, I hope you found this a fun little project. These are great gift ideas for holiday, birthdays. Heck, give one to somebody for 4th of July if they're going camping. Christmas is coming up. If people on your gift list have fireplaces or wood stoves, or if they like to go car camping, I would take this backpacking. These are wonderful gifts. So use your imagination. It doesn't have to look just like this one. You can make just about anything you want, and we'll do more pokers in the future. I'll bet if we did one every day for a year, we would start to look a lot alike, but there would be no two that were exactly alike. So there's lots and lots of things you can do with pokers. In the meantime, if you're enjoying the videos and you would like to support the channel financially, There is a link down in the description for PayPal, and I do appreciate the tips, but there is no obligation whatsoever. The content is free. That's just a gratuity if you choose to do so. I would love it if you'd give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends, get out to the shop, have some fun, make something, whether it's a poker or something else. Just enjoy your time in the shop. Stay safe, wear your safety glasses, and we will see you later.